Hey folks, this is Donnie with Standing Goats Rescue, and I want to start off by saying thank you to all of you that have emailed me and sharing your findings, which you've been finding on some of the videos that I've got up. Uh, Thank you tremendously for doing that. I absolutely appreciate it. Some of that stuff you guys have sent me is a little scary, a little nerve-wracking to look at, but you're finding things that I didn't see, and I'm really grateful for that. Guys, we're going to do some articles, but before we do the articles, I'm including this in the articles because normally the articles do pretty well as far as people watching them or listening to them. And this is an important message that I really need to get out. Our sister Audrey Parks, she's part of us here, and she's been with us for quite a long time. She just found out that she's dealing with cancer, breast cancer. She's going today to speak with a surgeon, and she reached out to me last night after I'd went to bed, and I had messaged her this morning a little bit. And anyhow, we need to get prayers out for Audrey. You know, she means a lot to me and my family here, and I'm absolutely sure she means a lot to many of you. You know, like all of you guys and gals. You know, we're all in this together. It doesn't matter what our political affiliation is. It doesn't matter what type of religion we have. It doesn't matter what color we are or where we're from. None of that matters. Our soul is all the same color for all of us. You know, it's all the same universal language with the Creator. So please, let's get some prayers out for Audrey. She really needs them. And we'll be praying for her here at home as well. It's really important we get those out and get her healed up, and where she has the strength to go against this nasty, evil, wicked disease. It's not good for anything but destroying people financially and physically, and it's just it's one of Satan's gifts to us, in my opinion. I woke up at 2:15 this morning, and I'm not feeling very well. I got really hot. It's about 11:30 in the morning, and I am fixing to call it quits. I've been working over here at our buddy's property today, but it's gotten so hot. Kim's wanting to go to the lake and go swimming, take Rosie down there, so I'm going to do this. Just putting out the prayer request and doing some articles, and then I'm going to the water. You guys, I got the camera situated to where you should be able to see behind the tractor off in the woods. That area that you're looking at over there, that's the area where I've gotten creeped out so many times, and that's where I found those little, it sort of looks like a teepee, but it's not standing by itself. It's leaning against a tree, so it's like half a teepee, but it's leaned on a tree. I found two of them that are really, really, you can tell somebody put them there. And I don't know if it's a person or a wood person. Somebody built it there. It didn't fall and land that way. All the sticks are the same size, and they're all leaned against a tree perfectly. It looks like a teepee. But anyway, it was back there. And it's I'm within 100 yards of where I was having the sticks thrown at me over here. Nothing happened today. It's been real quiet, thankfully. But anyhow, we're going to move on with this. I don't want to hold you guys up because I want to get in the AC for a minute, throw on some short britches, and go get wet. That's my plan. I'm tired. All right. We're going to start with this first one. This one's titled Bizarre Monster Attacks, Stick and Snake Throwing Bigfoot. The years is 2014 of March and 2014 and March and May of 2015. The locations are Jones Creek, Texas, Brazoria County, County Road 400, and Sam Houston National Forest in New Waverly, Texas. The information source is eyewitness testimony and subsequent site encounter location investigations by well-known Bigfoot teams. In May of 2015, a woman in Jones Creek, Texas, was driving down a country road on her way home when she saw something in the street. At first, she thought maybe it was a fallen tree, but as she got closer, she realized this was no hunk of wood. The mysterious object suddenly stood up, revealing itself as a Bigfoot. That's when the cryptid reared back and threw a snake at the woman's car. While she didn't get a photo of the creature, the woman hurried home, then returned with her husband and put the snake in her freezer as evidence, and not to mention as a twisted kind of souvenir until the Bigfoot team arrived. A well-known Bigfoot research team spent 3 days scouring the encounter site and came to the conclusion that the Bigfoot had moved on. No tracks were found, and the theory was put forth that this is an area where they migrate through looking for a place where they can't be impeded. They're looking for a place to live. The team leader said that this was near a wildlife refuge that matched previous reports of sightings. He said these creatures will deliberately move to places where human activity is low to non-existent. This makes surveillance and tracking of the creatures difficult. We spoke to a biologist there, and he said he'd never seen the creature, but if something wanted to live there, it could. They're in their southern migration now, so they're here now in Texas, in areas where there aren't people and places where they can't be harmed. The team leader believes the creature to be, at the very least, semi-intelligent, and they can think through things. Of course, this isn't the only time a Lone Star Sasquatch has decided to practice his pitching skills. In March of 2015, a team of Bigfoot hunters set out into the Sam Houston National Forest, and while they didn't see anything, the researchers reported they were attacked by an angry Bigfoot. Evidently, the hidden creature threw a giant log at their heads, but fortunately, a nearby tree took the brunt of the blow. It gets even stranger when you learn one of these cryptozoologists, Bob Garrett, claims he's encountered angry Big Feet before. During a 2014 expedition, Garrett claims he and his son were pinned in their truck by a whole family of hairy monsters. The creatures hurled sticks and dirt clods at the pickup truck before jumping up and down in frustration. When the Bigfoot family got about 30 feet away, Garrett decided it was time to head back to civilization. Okay, it's got a few pictures of the location, what the area looks like, and we may show these in a show. I'm not going to do them right now. I'm not feeling real chipper. So we're going to move on to the next one. We'll do a couple of them. I'm sorry about the vehicle traffic. Where I'm at here is at the opposite end of the property where all of the stuff happened yesterday, so I'm a lot closer to the highway. And you'll probably hear some vehicles go by, and I apologize for that. There's nothing much I can really do until they get everything straightened up at the opposite end where all that stuff happened yesterday. All right, let's move on. This one's titled Bigfoot Monster Attack, Bizarre Monster Attacks, Stick and Limb Throwing Bigfoot. The year is June 12th, 2014. The location is some undisclosed forest in Texas with an area called Monkey Woods and an area called the Boneyard. The information source for this article is cryptozoologist Bob Garrett's testimony along with another researcher, Brandon, and found evidence such as tracks and thermal footage. And it starts off, he says, Brandon and I pulled into an area normally called Monkey Woods. This is a remote site, and I will not disclose this location, but I will describe it to you. After a long bumpy drive, we finally came to the cutoff, and we took the one to the right side, and we bumped along for a few more moments. To the left is a dirt road that goes quite deep into the forest, and that was the road we took. We bumped along and finally came to a camp that we always use. The camp was high on a hill, and the hill ran all the way through the pine trees and then down into a lower section of woods, which we call the boneyard. We call it the boneyard because of the many hog skulls we find in this area, and of course backbones, hind legs, and deer bones. Sometimes we find a torn up coyote. Below our camp to the right is a very large pond about the size of a half acre, and running along the pond is a levee. But let's head back into the boneyard for a moment. There is another hill in this area, and it's all green grass and a lot of green brush and more water. This water is actually a spring, and in that area of green grass and brush, which is about an acre, is a small family group of Sasquatches, hence the name Monkey Woods. Brandon laid out a campfire and pulled up more wood to go along with what we had brought. While he was doing that, I began to get the equipment ready for the night. After everything was ready and done, we headed down towards the pond, and there we put up the thermal cameras. We aimed them the best that we could up onto the hill to watch anything that might approach us. I tell you, we were in for a big surprise that night. We knew that family group lived near the spring, and a lot of times other campers who came here or ran off quite often. After putting up the thermal trap cameras and putting out our audio, we went back to the truck and just laid back to watch the sun go down. This is one of my favorite times in the woods, when the sun's fading and the shadows begin to grow long. That is, when the day slowly falls asleep and the night awakens. We could hear little animals starting to scurry around like possums and armadillos, and we could also hear the little whistles that the birds make when they go off to roost. Off in the distance, some crows decided to wake up and be angry at something, and were making a hellish racket. When they finally quieted down, a whippoorwill began to call out in the night. We listened to his lovely song for a long while, then abruptly it stopped. We raised up in the back of the truck to listen and noticed that the moon was rising full over the tops of the pines. Suddenly we realized we were not alone. With that knowledge, the first tree limb flew in and hit the truck. We could hear running feet and then another tree limb. After a while, it became pieces of a tree and, of course, dirt with pebbles in it. Brandon and I were smiling at each other through the darkness. You may think we're crazy, but this is what we live for. And with the trap thermal cameras, we were hoping we were getting it all. We could hear them run back and forth with tree limbs and broken trees flying into camp nonstop. I've been told these creatures have long memories, and if that is true, then they knew well who we were, because this wasn't the first time we had been in here. We have hiked in the daytime and night and have been hit with sticks and rocks. If they do have long memories, then they knew we didn't run easily. While all this was going on, we were hoping, beyond hope, that the trap thermal cameras were getting all of it. Viewing it the next day, we realized we had made somewhat of a mistake. We didn't aim them up far enough on the hills, but yet we did get some very good thermal hits. Actually, we got 18 full minutes, because they would run down off the hill, pick up their ammunition, and run back up the hill. If you watch in this footage over by the word FLIR, you will see them running to and fro. We were very excited about this footage, and I know if we can blow it up, you will be able to see better what is going on. I believe you should be able to see enough to know that us poor guys at the extreme left on the hill were utterly being bombarded with everything they could throw. It wasn't till they came right up to the truck about 30 feet and began to jump in the air, slap their hands and feet on the ground, that we decided it was a little too intense and we should leave. We returned for the next day's investigation and found footprints on the hill, and we checked out again the boneyard. Until next time, he signs The Hermit, but he did not include any photos for this one. That's a pretty good article. All right. All right, guys, this next, I'm going to have to do this one on, all right, these next ones are the start of the new stuff that we're going to be doing. And so I am going to leave them for now. I don't want to get started on them. They are long, but it's a lot of information. You know, it's up to you. You take what you will or leave it. You know, anything in the bizarre, whether it's paranormal, supernatural, the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, the Yeti, the Dogman, the werewolf, whatever it may be. You know, it's up to you what you want to believe, what you want to rest within your memory bank, or what you just want to throw out and laugh at. Many of us have witnessed a lot of these different creatures, and I don't discount anything these days, no matter how crazy it sounds. I've seen things that I still try to mentally manipulate that it was somehow a hoax played on me. But these areas where I've seen some of this stuff, there is no way anyone could get in there unless they're just living and they're homeless and they don't own vehicles. Some of these areas you got to drive so far back to get into the woods to go to those spots, and there's only one way in. And when you're driving down the road and there's not a tire track, a footprint, there's nothing down these sandy roads, and you park at the only place you can park, and you go into it and you start witnessing these things, there's not a lot you can use for excuses as far as it being a man-made concoction. You know, that's just my opinion on it. I mean, I could very well have been hoaxed. Some of the things I've seen, there's no way on God's green earth that it could have been hoaxed. I was way too close to it. It was absolutely a living creature and far bigger than anything I have ever seen. And it's just, we live in a weird world. There's strange things being caught underwater. They're catching craft underwater. They're catching craft in the hills, going into volcanoes. I don't know if y'all heard that. That was behind me, and I cannot turn to see. That sounded like a growl. I'm gonna go ahead and get the camera up. Let me get down. I wanna look. That came from right back there, if you heard it. It came from that way. That was loud. It's so thick you can't see in there. Let me get the camera down. I'm gonna get everything loaded up. I'm gonna get out of here, but I'm gonna walk over where you guys can see a little bit. I mean, you can see how thick it is in there. That came from back here, somewhere right back in here. You can't see far. You can't see but about 30 feet in there. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Please don't forget to send prayers out for our sister Audrey. She truly needs them. And I've got to check in with our sister Sandra Rains DeBusk. I've heard rumors. I've not heard from her, and I keep forgetting to email her. If any of you guys are in touch with Sandra, please check in on her. Make sure she's all right. I've heard, I don't know that they're rumors, but it was hearsay coming from other people, and I did not hear it from her myself, but that she had a serious surgery and lost part of her leg. And I really would like to find out, because we need to get prayers out for her. I know she's dealing with a lot. I do know that for a fact. And we've done a prayer request for her, but let's add her to our prayers as well. Regardless of what's going on, let's get her healed of this stuff. Guys, y'all have a good afternoon. Enjoy the rest of the week. I love each and every one of you. I'm going to run home, throw on some short britches, and we're going to take Rosie to the lake and go swimming. And I may film over there. I may get some underwater footage if there's not any boats or the water messed up. But show you guys, it's just one of the many different areas that we go swimming at. But I love y'all. God bless you. Y'all be safe, and we'll see you absolutely very soon. Bye-bye.